In today's session, we are going to understand the term beverage, its classification and examples, and have an in-depth knowledge about non-alcoholic beverages. The objective of today's session is that you will be able to understand the term beverage, its classification and examples. You'll be able to list the non-alcoholic beverages made in the still room and supplied by the dispense bar. You will know the different types of coffees, the coffee producing countries, the processing and degrees of roasting. You will understand the different methods of making coffee and the coffee grinds. You'll be able to name and explain variations of espresso coffee. You'll be able to explain the methods of making liqueur coffee and list their names. You will gain knowledge on the characteristics of teas from various countries and the tea processing methods. You'll be able to name tea blends and explain their characteristics. You'll be able to prepare and serve coffee, tea, chocolate, malted drinks and milkshakes. You will know the meaning and be able to give examples of aerated waters, minerals, squashes and syrups. And you will be able to serve aerated waters, mineral waters, squashes and juices. The term beverages refers to all types of potable drinks which have thirst quenching, refreshing, stimulating and nourishing properties. Beverages are consumed mainly to quench the thirst, to compensate the loss of the body fluid during perspiration, to feel fresh and active, as rituals during social gatherings, and during and after eating. Food service operators deal with a wide range of beverages to satisfy the requirements of guests before, during, and after meals, and at any time of the day. Beverages are broadly classified as alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages. Let us now look at the classification of beverages. So beverages can be broadly classified as alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic beverages are those beverages that contain ethyl alcohol or ethanol. The percentage of alcohol in a drink varies from 0.5% to 95% depending on the method by which the alcohol is obtained. We will be having an in-depth knowledge about alcoholic beverages in our next session. But broadly, alcohol is classified as fermented, distilled, and compounded. The fermented beverages include wines that are made from grapes, beers that are made from food grains. From pears we can get perry, from apple we can get cider, mead, pulque. These are examples of fermented beverages. Distilled beverages are those beverages which go through a distillation process. They are called as spirits, and examples are whiskey, brandy, rum, tequila, arak, and fruit brandies. Then we have compounded beverages that go through a process of fermentation, distillation, and then they are flavored. Examples of which are gin, liqueurs, bitters, and aquavits. Whereas to classify non-alcoholic beverages, we can broadly classify them as stimulating, such as tea, coffee, cocoa, nourishing, such as hot milk and Brayton products, such as Boost, Moldova. You have refreshing, which are examples of milkshakes, juices, squashes, mocktails, cordials, and syrups. And then we have the thirst quenching, which is water, which can be carbonated, mineral waters, bottled waters, spring water, or distilled waters. The term non-alcoholic beverages covers drinks that are either totally free from alcohol or have less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. It includes a gamut of drinks from hot to cold and from simple to exotic. Some of the drinks are made in the still room, while some are made in the dispense bar. In an establishment where dispense bar is not available, the drinks may be collected from the still room. Every sector of the food service industry serves one or more types of non-alcoholic drinks. Establishments need not have a license to sell non-alcoholic beverages. It should be noted that water is not covered by the term beverage. So the following are the categories of non-alcoholic drinks. You have coffee, tea, milk-based drinks such as chocolate, malted drinks and milkshakes. Now these are the beverages that are made in the still room. Then you have aerated drinks, squashes, juices, natural mineral water, syrups. These are non-alcoholic beverages dispensed from the bar. They may also be made available in the still room in the absence of a dispense bar. You can also have a wide range of non-alcoholic drinks which are available in the market. We will be looking at each of these different types of non-alcoholic beverages in the next slides. Coffee is a popular drink in America and Europe compared to other parts of the world. The first commercial cultivation of coffee is thought to have been in Yemen district of Arabia in the 15th century. By the middle of the 16th century, coffee drinking had spread to Sudan, Egypt, Syria, and Turkey. Venetian traders first brought coffee to Europe in 1615, and the first coffee house in England was opened in Oxford in 1650. The drinking of coffee spread from Britain to America, but after the Boston Tea Party in 1773, the North American palate changed from drinking tea as a beverage to coffee. The trees that produce coffee are the genus Coffea, which belongs to the Rubicaceae family. There are somewhere in the region of 50 different species, although only 2 of these are commercially significant. These are the Coffea arabica and the Coffea robusta. Arabica accounts for some 75% of the world's coffee production. So the coffee tree is an evergreen shrub which reaches a height of 2 to 3 meters when cultivated. The fruit of the coffee tree is known as the cherry, and these are about 1.5 centimeters in length and have an oblong shape. The cherry usually contains 2 coffee seeds. The coffee tree will not begin to produce fruit until it is 3 to 5 years old, and will then usually yield good crops for up to 15 years. Coffee is a natural product grown in many countries of the tropical and subtropical belt in South and Central America, Africa, and Asia. It is grown at different altitudes in different basic climates and different soils, and is looked upon as an international drink consumed throughout the world. Brazil is the world's largest grower of coffee. Colombia is second, and the Ivory Coast third, followed by Indonesia. A good quality coffee served in a restaurant increases the repeat custom. There are different methods of making coffee, and the still room staff has to be knowledgeable through all these methods. We will be looking at the different methods of making coffee as well as the service of coffee. Let us now distinguish between Coffea arabica and Coffea robusta. While Coffea arabica have long, oval and slightly flatter beans, the Coffea robusta have irregular circular shape small beans. Coffea arabica has less caffeine content compared to the Coffea robusta. Coffea arabica contains twice the concentration of sugar whereas the Coffee Robusta is less sweeter than the Arabica. Coffee Arabica are more expensive, whereas the green beans of Robusta is about half the price of Arabica green beans. Coffee Arabica usually grows between 2.5 to 4.5 meters in height, whereas Coffee Robusta grows to 4.5 to 6 meters in heights, so they are taller. About 75% of the world's coffee production is Arabica, whereas Robusta's production is around 25%. Coffee Arabica is grown in Brazil, Arabia and India, whereas Coffee Robusta is grown in Vietnam, Ivory Coast, Angola. Let us now look at the different methods of making coffee. Firstly, we have the instant method or the instant coffee, which is coffee made from processed powder, which is often freeze dried. So you have regular and decaffeinated styles of this coffee are available. This may be made in individual coffee or teacups or in large quantities. It involves the mixing of soluble coffee solids with boiling water. This form of coffee may be made very quickly, immediately before it is required, by pouring freshly boiled water onto a measured quantity of coffee powder, and then it is stirred well. Then we have the saucepan or the jug method. This is an American method of making coffee, more often used in the home rather than in catering establishment. A set measure of ground coffee is placed in a saucepan or jug, and then the required quantity of freshly boiled water is poured onto the coffee grounds. This should then be allowed to stand for a few minutes to extract the full flavor and strength from the ground coffee. It is then strained and served. We then have the plunger method. The La Cafetière or jug or plunger method makes coffee simply and quickly by the infusion method. This ensures that the flavor and aroma of the coffee are preserved. La Cafetière comes in the form of a glass container with a lip held in a black, gold or chrome finish holder and sealed with a lid which also holds the plunger unit in position. The method of making is completely simple by adding boiling water to the ground coffee, stirring and then placing the plunger unit and the lid in position. Then you have the espresso method. This method is Italian in origin. The machines used in making this form of coffee can provide cups of coffee individually in a matter of seconds. The method involves passing steam to the finely ground coffee and infusing under pressure. The advantage is that each cup is made freshly for the customer. Espresso is served black, and the coffee is known as espresso and is served in a small preheated cup. If milk is required, it is heated for each cup by a high pressure steam injector and transforms a cup of black coffee into cappuccino. We then have the filter method. This is a traditional method of making coffee. In South India, especially in Tamil Nadu, every house has a small coffee filter to make excellent filter coffee. Filter coffees can be made in individual cups or in bulk. The coffee filter equipment has two pieces of containers with a filter unit which has perforated plates in between. The equipment should be thoroughly cleaned and rinsed with hot water. The containers and filters must be properly positioned. Freshly ground coffee is measured and placed in the filter, which is at the bottom of the top container, and freshly boiled water is poured into the top container. Infusion takes place and the coffee liquids fall into the lower container. Filter paper may also be used to avoid passage of the ground coffee to the lower container, but this will depend on the type of coffee grind used. The coffee is held in the bottom container and served with milk. This method takes 10 minutes approximately. This method is used in function catering. Coffee filter equipment for function catering is also available on hire. Then we have the Turkish or Egyptian coffees. These are made from darkly roasted mocha beans, which are ground to a fine powder. The coffee is made in special copper pots, which are placed on top of a stove or lamp, and then the water is allowed to boil. The sugar should be put in at this stage to sweeten the coffee, as it is never stirred once poured out into the cup. The finely ground coffee may be stirred in, or the boiling water may be poured onto the grounds. The amount of coffee used is approximately 1 heaped teaspoon per person. Once the coffee has been stirred in, the copper pot is taken off the direct heat and the cooling causes the grounds to settle. It is brought to the boil and allowed to settle twice more, and it is then sprinkled with a little cold water to settle any remaining grains. The coffee is served in small cups. While making the coffee, it may be further flavored with vanilla pods, but this is an optional process. Service of coffee. Firstly, we'll look at how coffee is served at a table. There are many methods of serving coffee at the table, which vary according to the profile of the restaurant, method in which the coffee is made, situation and policy of the restaurant. Waiters working in the service area must follow the service style adopted in that particular establishment. Some of the styles are: firstly, pre-poured in the still room. The cup is filled with prepared coffee in the still room and taken to the guest table and served from his or her right hand side. This style is followed in fast food outlets, popular restaurants, cafes and canteens. Sugar may or may not be mixed. If not mixed, a sugar bowl will be placed on the table with tongs or a teaspoon, depending on the type of coffee offered. The cup will have a teaspoon for stirring the coffee and sugar. If sugar is pre-mixed in the still room, then a teaspoon is not required. The second is pre-mixed and carried in a flask. Coffee is made and mixed with milk and sugar. It is taken in a flask and served in the cup at the table from the right hand side of the guest. This method is practiced in budget hotels and resorts. Thirdly, made according to the requirement of the guest. Coffee, milk and sugar are taken separately and made at the table according to the preference of the guest. This system is practiced in luxury and star-rated hotels and in fine dining restaurants. We will now look at the items required to serve coffee according to the requirement of the guest. You would need a salver, which is lined with a cloth, a coffee pot, a milk jug, a sugar bowl with tongs, teaspoon for granulated sugar. Spoons or tongs is not necessary if the sugar comes in sachet. The service procedure: make sure that the salver rests on a neatly folded waiter's cloth on the palm of the left hand. Approach the guest from his or her right hand side. Keep the left hand slightly behind the guest so that it does not come close to his face. Ask the guest if he or she prefers coffee with sugar. If sugar is requested, place the sugar bowl next to the cup and place the required amount of sugar in the cup. Place the sugar bowl back on the salver. Lift the coffee pot and pour gently into the cup without spilling. While pouring, ask if the guest wants to have coffee with milk. If he or she says yes, Pour coffee just over half the cup. Take back the coffee pot and place it on the salver. Pour the milk and take the milk jug back. Move to the next guest clockwise and repeat the procedure. Remember to serve the host last. After serving everyone at the table, place the coffee pot, milk jug and sugar bowl on the table. If coffee is served after the meal, in demitas with coffee spoon is used to serve coffee after the meal. The cup is kept on the right hand side of the guest with the coffee spoon at the right hand side of the saucer. It is not kept in the center of the cover. Then you have coffee served from the buffet. Guests approach the coffee section of the buffet. The section has black coffee, milk, pre-mixed coffee and sugar. Guest preference should be taken and they should be served accordingly. We will now look at the different variations of coffee. We have the espresso, which is a traditional, short, strong black coffee. We have the espresso macchiato, which is espresso spotted with a spoonful of hot or cold milk with hot milk foam. Then we have the latte, which is steamed milk spotted with a little bit of espresso. Then we have the flat white, which is a double shot of espresso topped with frothed milk, which has been stirred together with the flat milk from the bottom of the jug to create a creamy rather than a frothy texture. We have the cappuccino, which is espresso coffee topped with steamed frothed milk, often finished with a sprinkling of chocolate powder or grated. We then have the cafe mocha, which is chocolate compounded syrup or powder, followed by a shot of espresso. The cup or glass is then filled with freshly steamed milk, topped with whipped cream and cocoa powder. We have the doppio, which is a double espresso served in a larger cup. And we have the long black, which is espresso with added hot water to create a regular black coffee. May also be regular black coffee made using the filter method, also called as the Americano. A coffee should have a good flavor, a good aroma, a good color when milk or cream is added, and a good body. Some of the reasons for bad coffee. For a weak coffee, in case water has not reached the boiling point, insufficient coffee is used, if the infusion time is too short, if stale or old coffee is used, and if there is an incorrect grind of coffee used for the equipment in operation. You could also have a stale or lifeless coffee if the coffee is kept too long before use or is kept at wrong temperatures, if the equipment was dirty, or if the water was not fresh, or even if the coffee was reheated. You may have a bitter coffee if too much coffee was used, if the infusion time was too long, if the coffee was not roasted correctly, if the sediments remaining in the storage or serving compartment, if the infusion at too high a temperature, and if the coffee may have been left for too long before use. We will now look at one of the most popular beverage, which is tea. Tea was discovered by accident over 5,000 years ago when leaves from a tea bush accidentally dropped into some boiling water and delicately flavored the liquid. Tea was originally drunk for its medicinal benefits, and it was not until the 1700s that it began to be consumed as the delicious beverage that we know today. Tea is prepared from the leaf bud and top leaves of a tropical evergreen bush called Camellia sinensis. It produces what is regarded as a healthy beverage, containing approximately only half the caffeine of coffee, and at the same time it aids muscle relaxation and stimulates the central nervous system. Its delicate astringent flavor and slightly bitter taste makes it a popular drink. Some of the main tea producers are China, India, Kenya, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Japan. Tea is traditionally classified according to the process it undergoes during production. This picture will show you the different types of teas and how it is processed. The following points must be kept in mind while making tea. Make sure that the tea pot is very clean. Rinse the pot in which the tea is to be brewed with hot water. Good quality and properly stored tea leaves or dust or tea bag should be used. Freshly drawn boiling water should be used. Tea must be measured during usage. Allow tea to brew for the recommended time. The brewing temperature depends on the type of tea. Teas that are not oxidized or that are not fermented are best brewed at lower temperatures, while tea with longer period of oxidation are best brewed at higher temperatures. The table shows recommended brewing times for different types of teas. Serving tea is similar to serving coffee with a few exceptions. Tea may be preferred black with lemon, or with milk. If tea is served at the table, there are many methods of serving tea at the table which vary according to the profile of the restaurant, method in which the tea is made, and the policy of the restaurant. Waiters working in the service area must follow the service style adopted in that particular establishment. Some of the service styles are pre-poured in the still room. The service is same as the service of coffee. Pre-mixed and carried in a flask, again same as in the service of coffee, and made according to the requirement of the guest. The tea, milk, pot of hot water, tea strainer, pieces of lemon on a quarter plate, and sugar are taken and kept at the table for the guests to help themselves. This system is practiced in luxury and star-rated hotels and fine dining restaurants. The following items are required for serving tea. You would need a salver lined with a cloth, a teapot, a pot of hot water, a tea strainer, a milk jug, a sugar bowl with tongs. Teaspoon is used for granulated sugar. Spoons or tongs are not necessary if sugar comes in sachets. Pieces of lemon on a quarter plate. For serving tea, all the items used in preparation of tea are usually carried on a salver and are left on the table for the guests to help themselves. Tisanes are herbal infusions of fruit-flavored teas mainly consumed for medicinal purposes. They are becoming increasingly popular these days among health-conscious consumers as tisanes do not contain caffeine. Tisanes are not new to India. In fact, Ayurveda and Siddha practitioners have been treating their patients with herbal infusion for ages. Dry ginger root, mint, tulsi, coriander seeds, and pepper are some widely used tisanes. Some of the examples of tisanes are: in herbal you have chamomile, mint, peppermint, tulsi, rose hips. In fruit you have cherry, orange, lemon, gooseberry, blackcurrant. Please note that tisanes are consumed without milk. Let us now look at the different types of waters. You have carbonated water or sparkling water or soda water. These beverages are charged with carbon dioxide. Artificial aerated waters are by far the most common. The flavoring found in different aerated waters are obtained from various essence. Soda water are colorless and tasteless. Tonic water are colorless and quinine flavored. You also have dry ginger, which is golden straw colored with a ginger flavor. You have bitter lemon, which is pale cloudy yellow colored with sharp lemon flavor. Other fizzy waters are fizzy lemonades, orangeade, ginger beer, cola, etc. Then you have club sodas. These are ordinary water that have been filtered and then have been artificially carbonated. But the difference between club soda and normal soda is that club soda is salt free and is generally used as mixers along with whiskey. Example is seltzer. Then you have distilled water, which is water which is made by a process in which the minerals are removed from ordinary water by a process of distillation. Then we have packaged drinking water, which is bottled water that comes from a government approved source, which is then filtered or treated in some manner before bottling. The water can come from a tap, a well, and so on. It can also be blended with water from other sources. Then you have mineral water. Natural mineral waters are obtained from groundwater through a spring, well, or borehole. Mineral waters may be still, naturally sparkling, or carbonated during bottling. All natural mineral waters must be bottled at the place of origin without any additions or treatment other than filtration and addition of carbon dioxide. Natural mineral waters contain minerals that are proven to be good for health. They are named after the place of origin. Mineral waters are marketed in plastic or glass bottles of various capacities. Sparkling mineral water are labeled as carbonated natural mineral water, naturally carbonated natural mineral water, or natural mineral water fortified with gas from spring. The water must have at least 500 milligrams of minerals per liter. Then we have spring water. This is a term used to indicate water from a deep underground source that flows naturally to the surface. If the water remains unprocessed or unchanged, the term natural may be added and the product may be called as natural spring water. The other types of non-alcoholic beverages, we have crushes. They are roughly crushed fruits from where we get juice. The whole crushed fruit is bottled with some preservatives. Example, strawberry crush. We have syrups. The main use of these concentrated sweet fruit flavorings are as a base for cocktails, fruit cups, or mixed with soda water as a long drink. Some of the popular syrups are cassis, which is blackcurrant, citronnelle, which is lemon, framboise, which is raspberry, grenadine, which is pomegranate, orgean, which is almond. Then we have squashes. A squash may be served on its own, diluted by water, soda water, or lemonade. Squashes are also used as mixers for spirits and in cocktails, or used as a base for such drinks as fruit cups. They are made by extracting juices from fresh fruits and adding sugar to it. Examples are orange squash, lemon squash, grapefruit squash, and lime cordial. Aerated drinks. These are charged or aerated with carbonic gas. The flavoring found in different aerated waters are imparted from various essences. Example, tonic water, which is quinine flavored, dried ginger or ginger ale, which is golden straw flavored with ginger flavoring. We also have various milk-based drinks such as hot chocolate, malted drinks, milkshakes, etc. To conclude, the term beverage refers to all types of potable drinks except water. Beverages are consumed during the day, primarily to get energy and to refresh. People prefer different types of drinks during the day with meals and after meals. Beverages are classified into main types: alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. While a license is required to sell alcoholic beverages, a license is not required to serve non-alcoholic beverages. Every food service organization serves one or more types of beverages to satisfy guest requirements, and menus includes names of the beverages on offer. On an average, sale of non-alcoholic beverage amounts to approximately 35 to 40% of the total revenue in popular and fast food restaurants. All beverages except alcoholic beverages are consumed by people of all ages, which gives a very good scope for caterers to offer a wide range of beverages. The still room of a hotel is responsible for making tea, coffee, and milk-based drinks, while the dispense bar serves aerated waters, minerals, squashes, and juices. However, in outlets where there is no bar, the still room supplies those drinks.